Flower friends, it is Lisa Mason Ziegler dropping in here tonight because this is probably not a news flash to any of you guys, but did you know that flower farming is not a hobby? And I just wanted to pop on here and share. We have brought back out a special program. Actually, we've brought back out the gift that I have for you guys, and I want to tell you all about that. And I've just been talking to a lot of people that really have dreams of starting a flower farm, but they're scared to death. And I thought I would just come on here and we could talk about that just a little bit. So if you haven't heard, that Flower Farming School Online, which is my school, has had a special gift last week. Well, we brought it back out for today and tomorrow because I know that everybody's busy, right? And so we don't want anybody to miss out on this chance, because let me tell you what the special gift is. And I'll tell you a little bit more about Flower Farming School in just a moment. I've made this special series. It's called the Flower Farmer Fast Track. And it's 7 live Zoom calls, coaching calls, you might say, that start the first one starts on Thursday this week, March 13th. And I'm going to do it for 7 weeks. And I am really laying it out how people can really get their flower farm up and started, or hit the reset button if that's you. I mean, that was me a couple of times. I totally get that too. But we go through a live coaching call on Zoom, 1 call for each class that's in the course. And I have totally mixed up the order of the classes so that we can do them in the order of what I think the urgency is right here in the season, so I can walk through with you while you're doing this stuff, right? So this Thursday, March 13th, and if you're one of my students, you're invited to this. All of my Flower Farming School online basic students got an email inviting them to this special coaching. And so I'm just trying to get as many people in before the deadline so you get to be in on these calls, right? So this week, and it tells you this in the email if you're one of my students, this week I'm doing class 4, and I am basically, the fast track is like, if you can think of it this way, if you bought a TV, and you get it home, and there's usually 2 pieces of paper that fall out of the box. There's like an owner's manual, which is multiple pages, multiple languages, right? And then there's usually a quick start card. That's the card that you pull out to actually, for dummies like me, to just hook your TV up and get it actually working, right? The quick down and dirty. That's what the Flower Farmer Fast Track series is. I have teased out a Flower Farming School, those essential steps to just get in and get going. And so this week, on March 13th, which is week 1, but it's actually class 4 because it's what to grow. And I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm actually, my students will be getting a PDF of a list, couple lists probably, of what if I was starting my flower farm right now on 1/8 of an acre, which is like 9 100-foot beds, of what I would be starting and how much of it I would be starting and planting for my first warm season tender annual succession. And that's what I'm going to teach about, the down and dirty. And it's going to include the early bird sunflower, how to do that and work it into your rotation. I'm like taking the guesswork out, right? Especially for folks that are just kind of overwhelmed if you're taking that step from being a gardener to a flower farmer. That's kind of what this Flower Farmer Fast Track is. It's like that bridge, right? So anyway, we've brought it back out. So Flower Farming School, you can actually comment Fast Track here and we'll DM you the link, or you can just visit my website. But I am so super excited to actually be able to meet every week with my students, and we do a live Q&A. You can submit questions beforehand, but you can also submit during the actual live. as of so far, I have never left a live Q&A that I haven't answered all the questions. I don't think that day will ever come. And so this Flower Farmer Fast Track is actually the gift that you get when you enroll in Flower Farming School. And again, if you're already enrolled in Flower Farming School, you're invited, and you would have gotten an email that actually said that. And what I really wanted to invite you to is at 8 o'clock over either on YouTube or Facebook, it'll be streamed simultaneously. I'll be taking you inside Flower Farming School just to poke around and have a look to see what it's all about. And, I don't know if you're like me. Before I took my first online course, so this is 2025, I guess it was 8 years ago, I didn't really know what to expect or how it works. And I was kind of worried about that. And so I just want to take you inside the course, show you how it's not just a school that, I'm telling you, friends, it has the answer to every question you could have. And we're going to go inside and look at the different sessions and go in and watch a session and show you how to search in there. Because something we did about 3 years ago is we had the entire course keyword searchable. That meant that it was time stamped. And that way you can go in, you don't have to remember where you saw something because you won't remember. It's just it's got a lot of information. You can actually search and it brings up all the places that word is mentioned. And I'm going to show you how all that works. I would love for you to join me at 8 o'clock because I can't do that here on Instagram, right? So I wrote down some things I didn't want to forget to say to you. And so the first fast track is this Thursday, March 13th. And it is recorded, and you have access to that as well after the fact. So if you're not familiar with our online courses, you have, when you buy a course from the Gardener's Workshop, you have lifetime unlimited access. What the heck does that mean? That means that it does not matter how many times you go in and out of your course and how many times you watch a session. It's there as long as you have internet and you can log into your online library, meaning you know what your password is and you have your email. You can log in to get, and then your library comes up with all your online courses. And so the way that I like to explain it to people, because I'm pretty simple, y'all. In simple terms, an online course is really no different than buying a book. But instead of picking the book up to read it, you pick up a device that has internet access on it, and you go to and log in to your library, and all your courses are there. And it's pretty phenomenal. And the great thing about it is the keyword searchability, which means you can go in there and look for anything. But I'll be real honest, I've made several statements about 2025 that, I have no filter anymore. I'm like speaking the truth in everything. And I am here to tell you that, so if you committed, because some people ask this, is why I'm telling you, if you committed 4 hours a week to go in and consume for 6 weeks and consume the content, you'll blow through the entire course. And that won't even begin to touch the frequently asked question videos that are in there and the bonuses. But it'll get you, once you go in there and get familiar, and not that you're going to remember it all, but you see, I watch it actually at time and a half or double time. And that allows me, and I often listen to it when I'm driving down the road like it's podcast, right? When you hear things, when you run into those things 6 months from now or a year from now, that's when you say, you know what, wasn't that in that course? And you go back and take a peek. But what I wanted to say, these are the questions that I've been asked over the last 10 days by folks that are not just really questions, fears or expressions that have been shared with me. And so one of them is, and people were just so honest, y'all. It is just so good to be honest and transparent, right? One person said, I did some free master classes, right? And that's where we had all these conversations. one person wrote that they were just scared. They were just afraid to start. And friends, I totally get that. I think because I was so afraid in the beginning and it continues today, I was afraid over business stuff. And I think that's what gives me such empathy for people. But I want to just tell you, if you're not afraid, that's not normal. It's if you are afraid of change and new stuff, that's normal. That is exactly how you should feel. And then when you align yourself with people that you have trustworthy resources and people that have gone before you, it just helps you to march through the fear and just get stronger every time you plow through that wave, right? So all of these, first off, I want to say all of these things I have come to learn after spending a lot of money, taking a lot of classes and coaching from people, y'all. All of our reluctance to do new things, to try new stuff, to move our business forward, it's all based in fear. You might not think it is, but I'm telling you, it is, right? So here's another one. They were afraid they weren't going to have enough flowers. We were talking about the really amazing business models that I teach you about in Flower Farming School, bouquet subscriptions and my members only on-farm private markets. And you pre-sell all of that business. You know, it's like when you're down in the dirty of growing this mess, this stuff is already squared away. People were really afraid, what if I don't have the flowers? And, you know, just to know that I can almost promise you, I will promise you, that if you follow the steps in Flower Farming School and prepare and plant what we talk about planting and the way I plant it, you will have so many more flowers than you actually need. I think it's astounding even to me to this day over how many flowers are produced from a small space when you treat it like a cutting garden, right? So that was one fear, and that's just a fear that I think we all feel, but it is not, it is warranted because you have it, but we're just going to push through that. And then another really big one was marketing. You know, I want to tell you that if you're on IG watching me here, right? So you obviously are on social media. For those people that don't want to do social, they're passing up the gazillion-dollar bills of free marketing. Where does everybody have their noses? In their phones, right? And we teach you in the Flower Farming School online course the basic steps, how to take better images. We give you a gallery of images, and actually I'll be showing those tonight when I go inside over on Facebook. But we really help you with the marketing piece. And friends, it's all about staying simple and just stop trying to do it all and focus on one path. And it just gets so much easier. But we go through that in Flower Farming School. And then the other one, oh my goodness. And, you know, I don't know if y'all have heard the story or read in my books. Steve Ziegler, my man, my husband, had to practically stuff my butt in the car with my buckets of flowers and drive me to my first florist call. I just knew I was going to walk in there, even though I had two gorgeous buckets, one of sweet peas and one of blue mop head hydrangeas. I knew I was going to walk into that shop and put my buckets up on the counter, and he was going to take one look at them and look at me and say, "What makes you think I would give you any money for those flowers?" That's exactly what I was afraid of. But, you know, that is completely the opposite of what actually happened. Friends, I'm here to tell you that in the course, I cover not only so many different selling models or ways to sell, but to give you the confidence by making you a pro. And it's just a few basic steps, y'all. Don't burn your bridges with florists particularly until you're prepared to go in and make that first contact with them. So we go through the how and the who in the selling department, right? And so then another question I frequently get asked is, will it work in my winter hardiness zone? So I'm in zone 8A. Well, it works in all zones because I don't really tell you when to plant anything. We work on the equations, right? It's like, when do you plant warm season tender annuals for your garden? And so you will come away with a confidence of knowing when you're supposed to plant those two families, because the name of the course is Flower Farming School, the basics, annual crops, marketing, and more. This is about warm season, tender annuals, and cool season, hardy annuals, and growing them all outdoors in a garden, y'all, because I have no greenhouses. So what I talk about can apply to anybody, anywhere. And a question that I've gotten a couple of times is, what is the difference between my flower farming school and my flower farmer club, right? Because they're two totally separate entities. Flower farming school is a tactical, comprehensive, step-by-step on how to start, build, what to grow, who to sell it to, how to start it from seed, and how to harvest and condition it, plus a boatload of additional bonuses and frequently asked questions. It's all the how-to steps. My club has none of that in it. The club has, a way I like to look at it is, school has all the how-to, do everything, and it's a comprehensive course. The club is continuing education. You don't get all that stuff over there. I do a master class once a month, which is 12 a year. We have a live Q&A in there every month. But you don't get all of the step-by-step that's actually in the school. And of course, my books are about growing flowers. It's not about starting and running a business. So they're a great complement to both the club and the course, but they are just about growing flowers, right? And then the last question that I frequently get is, who's this course for, right? Well, it's for beginner and aspiring flower farmers. Those are the people that are gardeners and they have found out about flower farming. Maybe you know nothing about starting a business, or maybe you don't know anything about starting a flower farm. Because I will tell you, as a person that suffered through this, there is a huge learning curve from going from a gardener to a flower farmer. What I learned when that first couple of years when I was learning how to be a flower farmer, I couldn't believe how you did so many things differently, right? And that's where so many potential flower farmers get lost. They just garden on a bigger scale. And flower farming is very different than that. And we talk about, in the course, I talk about taking your gardener glasses off and putting your flower farming glasses on. And so aspiring and beginner flower farmers, this is like the perfect, if that's your dream, you can come along with us and we'll have your back and help you do that. And pick you up when you fall down. It's not that you're not going to fail. The road to success is paved with failures. And I want to just say again, if you want to learn more about the course and my gift, that is the bonus that's available until tomorrow night at 12 midnight, you can comment fast track here, and that'll DM you the link to actually learn more about it. And if you're if you've already been flower farming for a couple of years, let's say, but you're still struggling, you still just can't, I just can't even tell you. Here I am, 27 years in business. I'm going to a business workshop at the end of March at a incredibly great expense. And because I still need help. I mean, every step your business grows, you have all these new challenges. And that's why the real benefit of courses is you get to go back as you're facing new challenges. And I mean, I can attest to this. I buy books and courses all the time. And that's how you get better and better and better at your business, no matter what it is, whether it's the business part or the flower farming part. And I just want people to understand that that's the way the successful people that you see maybe online, they're doing that. They're doing that very same thing. They're still trying to read 30 minutes before they go to bed every night in not a novel, in a book that's helping them. They're probably actively taking courses. That's what I do. And I think saying this and revealing this to people make them realize that you're not a loser because you need to take a course to learn. That's the way it works. You invest in yourself. Learning, knowledge, and business is a smart thing to do. And so if you have been flower farming for a couple of years, but you still feel like you're just treading water, you're just not getting it all done, you're overwhelmed, which I think it's safe to say that we all stay overwhelmed most of the time, but in a good way. You shouldn't be suffering. Let me tell you the difference between business overload and suffering. The business overload is where you've got too much on your plate, you're constantly triaging it and taking it down, right? But when you're suffering, that's because you're beating up on yourself over the overload. You're thinking it's never going to get better. You're thinking it's never going to have a solution. And that is just not true. I'm here to tell you, this type of learning and knowledge in a business is what digs you. I'm throwing you the rope, friend. If that's you. I'm just being really, really honest, because I would have been done a long time ago had I not done this. Probably about 8 years ago, back when it was real fresh in my mind, I used to tell people I spent a lot of money on a coach to beat into me some basic concepts that we just constantly beat up on ourselves, and that's just not the way it is. And once you accept that, and that's, my encouragement and confidence building in my course, through my course, and then through our live coaching times. And then, of course, you do know that you have lifetime access to me in our private Facebook group. Right? You can tag me in there. There's thousands of students that'll run alongside you, some that are ahead of you, some that are behind you, and help you and cheerlead for you, pick you up off the pavement when you splat. And it's just, while I believe that my course will answer any question you have on flower farming, starting, harvesting, conditioning seeds, starting all of that mess, starting the business part. But I'm telling you, it is the community, the support, and rallying and the encouragement that you get is what gives you the kick in the pants to get up every day and keep doing it, even when you've fallen down a bunch of times, right? So it's not just for beginners and aspiring dreamers. It's also, I would encourage you can comment Fast Track here, and I'll DM you the link to go straight to the sales page. Go over there and read the student testimonials. There's 2 or 3 testimonials on there, I think. And it talks about, one of them that I remember was a person that had been a vegetable farmer for like 20 years. And they started flower farming, and they just couldn't believe the difference and how much momentum she gained from taking flower farming school. Y'all, it's just cutting to the chase. You can spin your wheels and waste time and money and morale and the morale of your family that supports you. Or you can go straight to the horse. And we'll do it together, right? So I'm just looking at my notes, y'all. I have so many pieces of paper. I'm a big note writer to myself and to other people. And so I would just love, if you are considering flower farming school, to join by tomorrow night at midnight, because then you'll get the free gift, which is this bonus series called the Flower Farmer Fast Track. That is 7 live coaching calls with me, 1 a week, and the first one starts this Thursday. And this Thursday, you're going to be getting a PDF from me that's going to tell you exactly what I would plant in my first warm season succession. I'm telling you I'm showing you my map of that first 3 beds, 100-foot beds, what I would plant, how much of it I would start, how I would start it. Is it plug trays or soil blocks, or what do you do? And also sunflowers. And I'm going to give you my method of preparing the bed for the first probably 6 weeks of weekly sunflowers. And we don't put down film or mulch for them. How we prepare that and just have it sitting and waiting without growing weeds. And anyway, so I've just never gone down this detailed of a very specific, but I feel like that's what people really, really need. This will be what you can focus on. Okay, this is what I'm going to plant. You can size it to your size bed and to get started. And then the following week, what's the next week? Next week, and week Fast Track Week 2 is going to be on Class 5, which is seed starting, right? It's for those folks. I mean, there's all of this is in the class, but I'm just tweaking out the bare bones, that quick start to get you started. So friends, don't forget to join me at 8 o'clock over on either YouTube or Facebook, whichever. I'm going to be taking you into the course just to have a look around and kind of see what it's like. So the class is $695, which is a lot of money, but that's a BB in the Astrodome compared to the money it's going to save you by avoiding mistakes, getting you up and started, and you will make that back in the first 90 days if you do what I tell you to do, right? I mean, it's just that simple. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And you can enroll over at thegardenersworkshop.com. And I know there's something else I'm forgetting to tell you. So this 7 weeks of live calls means that we will be meeting up while you're actually experiencing it, y'all. And again, that's recorded and you have access to that afterwards too. So friends, I'm going to get ready to jump over there onto YouTube and Facebook and take you inside the course. And I just hope to see you in Flower Farming School. Contrary to what is a belief on social media, there are not enough professional flower farmers. And that's what I will help you become as a business person and as a grower, to become a respected member of the flower farming community, and to grow flowers you'll be so proud to sell. And so friends, till I see you, I hope in just a few minutes. So if you want to go inside my course and have a look-see, join me over on my YouTube channel. There's a link here in my profile. And remember, comment Fast Track here if you need the link. All right, friends, thanks for hanging with me. Ciao.